you never know how the day is going to start or end. Usually when people ask me how I'm doing, my answer that I like to give is, I've never been better in my whole entire life. And people are like, wow, that's pretty good. But for the last 3 days when people said, how you doing? I gotta be honest, I was better last Thursday. Last Thursday was the best I ever been in my whole entire life. Got to go to have ice cream with our grandkids on Tuesday night last week. And then Thursday was the auction that Audrey and I sold our calves. My grandsons came to the auction barn in Fredericktown and sat there with us, and we had auction barn hamburgers and french fries and sodas, and sat in the top of the whole entire place and watched a bunch of animals sell, and finally ours came through and we watched our calves sell, and it was just a lot of fun. It was a good day on Thursday. Thursday ended great. Friday started terrible.
The park was a beautiful park. A lot of people came here, a lot of families, a lot of good family time here. We've been coming here for, gosh, probably 9 or more years. We've been coming here. It's our go-to place on the weekends. We love this place. We're an annual. We keep the camper here set up. It was beautiful. We got pictures that I share with people all the time on Facebook, just out and about, and they say, well, hey, where you guys go camping? We always say we go to BCRV Park. I show them pictures of our setup that we had.
Dave and Laura, they are used to doing things themselves and keeping this park beautifully manicured.
Dave and Laura will never ask for help, but they're always there to help everybody else. They're always there to help. We've had issues with the camper, and Dave's down here in a minute helping. And he doesn't want anything in return. My wife Angela, she stayed here in the wintertime. Angela ran into some problems because it was sub-freezing weather. Audrey didn't bat an eye. She came and helped, but she didn't want anything in return. That's the type of family they are. They like to help. They like to give.
It was about 3 o'clock in the morning on Friday morning, and I was kind of laying half awake, half asleep all night, listening to the rain just pounding all night long. And 3 o'clock, Laura comes. One of our guests called, and she was concerned about the rain, so I went out in my pickup and I drove around. Yeah, there was an awful lot of water in the RV park, but it was all flowing toward the creek. I drove out in the road, and the neighbor's pasture was draining across the road ditch into our RV park like it does, because that's where the water goes, and it was doing its thing. And I was able to drive where everybody accesses the creek. I was able to drive right down into there, and I could see the creek flowing. It was really going. It was high, but it wasn't flood stage per se. It wasn't dangerous at that point, and the water was flowing very swiftly toward the creek, so everything was doing its job. Continued to drive around for about an hour and a half, and it was about 4:30, and another guy had gotten up and was driving around with me and in his truck, and we agreed that, wow, the water had really receded, and it had gone from being several inches deep, like 5-6 inches deep and flowing toward the creek, but to about 2 inches deep and flowing toward the creek. And I said, wow, this is good. It's let up the rain a lot, and it's receded a lot, and I'm gonna go home for a little bit, turn on the TV and sit down, and of course I'd be keeping an eye on it. But about 45 minutes later, our daughter calls and says, Dad, there is like a foot of water in my yard. And I said, what? Just 45 minutes ago, it was going down.
It was 5 a.m. in the morning, and I was supposed to wake up to go see a college. My alarm was blaring. I went back to sleep for 15 minutes, and I kept hearing a thudding against my house. What sounded like rain coming down, but when I looked out my window, my yard was under 1.5 feet of water. I had a yard swing that was underwater. My front steps were underwater. I called my parents, and I told them my house is underwater, like surrounded by water.
I went running over to her place and saw the water was flowing in the direction that the creek flows, and I said, that's creek water, we got to get out of here. Told Audrey to get her dog, get out now.
My house is under 1 foot of water, and the power just went, oh, there it goes. No, the power's out now.
seeing my daughter having to jump out of her house, and it was already thigh high, just kind of really already started shaking me a little bit, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is happening. This is really happening. The water was just gushing, and it's starting to just fill the park.
I began to go down the 100 row, knocking on doors, telling everybody, you got to get out, you got to get out, you got to get out, you better move fast, get out. And the water was coming up quick. I made a couple laps around the RV park, talking to everybody, getting them moving out. Hey, you get your sister, get your mom, get out of here. Get your car and get up to the front immediately.
It was daybreak. I looked out and I seen a lot of water. And I'm in there by myself, and my daughters are down there in their campers. I called Angela, and Angela's still sleeping. So Angela said, Mom, no, it's okay. I said, look out the door. So she looked out the door. She said, Mom, hold on, get your stuff, let's get together, let's get out of here.
I started driving toward the front with my pickup, and the water was way over my bumper. My pickup's lifted 4 inches. It was well over my bumper. I was pushing water big time, and I decided that there was no chance they were getting their cars through that. There was no chance that I was getting my pickup back through that. And the water was coming up so fast. I had Laura call the lady back and say, don't try to drive your car through there, you won't make it. Laura told her to get to the road if possible, out the back of their camper to the highway.
Angela, my sister-in-law, and my mother-in-law were all here. They all have their own campers, and we're all here. It's a mother-daughter camping trip, I guess you could call it. I was actually at home, getting ready to go to work up around the St. Louis area, and I got a phone call from my wife telling me that she needed help, that the place is flooding. About 4 o'clock or so, Angela got the knock on the door from campground owner Dave, and says, you got to evacuate, the place is flooding. And when she stepped out of our camper, she stepped into waist deep water. She had our dog under one arm. She had trying to hold on to whatever, anything that she could. She went to the back of the camper. She just worked her way down the tree line, and so she knew there was an opening and worked down towards her mom's camper. And she dropped the dog in the water. Luckily, she was able to grab him right back up. But just the force of that water pushing against her, her legs are bruised up. Who knows what was hitting her? Rocks, debris. I don't know. And then my sister-in-law, she had to do the same thing. She went down another Debbie out of the camper, and they were able to get up onto the roadway as well.
Finally, Nina came to the door, came back this way and came around. She got me out of there, got my purse and everything. We went this way, went all around there. Where the street is, there was no water on it yet, but it was all flowing, and she held my hand, and we escaped through this hole where there's not a fence. It was a scary moment, but everybody was okay.
I turned on the TV, started watching the news, and realized how bad it was down here. I called off work and started heading this way, and I was able to see the devastation for myself.
In the meantime, I knew that the best vehicle I had to go through that kind of water would have been my tractor, so I went running around the road, through the road ditch, and back to where my tractor was, and it was in about 3 feet of water already at that time. I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't even know if it'll start, but it did. I backed out of there, and I came down to the road to get back into the RV park, and I saw Laura and maybe some others down on the roadway. Those ladies had gone to the road, so I ran down there with the tractor. I took some of their bags and came back to the RV park. Then I decided, okay, I'm gonna make one more pass through the RV park and make sure. There was one couple that I was concerned about. They were a little bit older. I took off with the tractor through the RV park, and I made it through to the south end again. I verified that people had made it to the swimming pool area, which was high enough. It never did flood there, but they parked several vehicles up on the patio. A lot of people were there, some kids. Somebody, I said to them, please help this older couple. because I needed to just keep moving and make the rounds faster.
My daughter is amazing. She just goes around, she sees what needs to be done. We move vehicles.
It was chaos from 5 to 8. We were going, worried about everything going on. I just wanted to keep my family, just be like that anchor in that time.
We try to put the animals to safety in case the water was going to go all the way into the barn. Then she goes and gets the cows that were already pretty deep in water, almost swimming.
I was worried about our livestock. We backed up trailers, loaded up our sheep. Our cow pens were flooded. They were swimming in water. I went over there and get them. And we brought them back to the road. People kept them corralled and they stayed close by.
And asking people what site they were in, figuring out who needs to be assisted still that we hadn't reached. Some people were telling me that their friends had managed to go to the pool patio, but they didn't make it all the way up. Later on, I was told there was about 17 people on the patio. So I called 911 and I told them we needed help here. We had people that needed rescued. There was 3 ladies that he couldn't reach. We called them, we said try to make it to the road. That was very stressful. They're friends to us, and just to know that they were stranding, and it was scary. It was very scary.
I was on my way back up to the front where my wife and daughter and my livestock and everything, where I felt like I could be the most useful. And my tractor decided that was all it was going to do. It was losing traction in 4-wheel drive. I couldn't keep it moving against the current. It sucked in water, and it just was done. It wouldn't go. I tried to get the attention of the people at the front so they knew that I wasn't just dilly-dallying around out there. I was stranded.
He was left out in the field here on his tractor, stranded, and it had to be rescued. Somebody that would go that far to help one of their customers is I mean, it's just unbelievable.
I see my husband stranded on his tractor and waving, and I'm like, oh no, this is not good. We're just looking at the water rising. Our whole life here is being washed away. The work we've done, everything is just being washed away. And I'm saying, there's no way I'm doing this on my own.
The water came up a lot. Came up at least another good foot. It was kind of concerning. Very turbulent water, lots of waves, lots of current. I surveyed the situation and I thought, if this tractor rolls over, because it was moving, it was changing position with the trees. I thought, well, if it rolls over, where am I going to jump in so I don't get hit by it? Where am I going to jump in so I don't get pinned up against it? And I was watching the debris go by, including railroad ties and huge logs that we had stored in the back that we were going to cut up for firewood eventually, but we were letting them dry. And I'm talking about 700,000-800,000 pound logs. I couldn't even lift them with my tractor. I saw one of them go floating by me. It just about hit my tractor. Pretty soon I saw 2 rescue firefighters kind of trying to work their way in my direction. They arrived really just at the right moment. The one that was getting close to me brought a couple of life jackets that we had in our storage shed. He was able to throw one to me. It was about maybe 20 feet away from him. I felt better just having the life vest on, but that water was really moving. I had a chain on the tractor and I tried to throw it to the firefighter, but I could not get the chain to him. It just was a little bit too short to reach, and pretty hard to throw a chain when you're balancing on the front pallet forks of a tractor. Then shows up a little jet boat that guys use for fishing on the rivers here, and it was another firefighter that had come with a jet boat, and he came around to our location. I said, we'll take him first. He's standing in the water. I was only knee deep on my forks. He was chest deep and pinned up against a tree. So I said, get him out of here first. And he was able to climb on there, which wasn't easy, because it's not easy with soaking wet and wet boots to climb into a boat. But they got him pulled into the boat. They took him up to safety. They immediately came back. They got me and brought me to safety. They went ahead and got everybody else that was at the patio, and they were able to get everybody in the boat, put life jackets on the kids, and brought them up to the front of the park where there was still ground visible.
There's nothing you can do in that situation. It was gone. We knew that. My house tipped on its side, and I knew it would have had water damage. It's a mess.
This is their life. This is what they chose to do, and this is their home, and their home is destroyed. It is destroyed.
They don't get to leave this and then go someplace else, and they got a house someplace else. They don't have that. This is their home, this is their house, this is their backyard, and they're so gracious and grateful that they allow us to play in their backyard every weekend.
It's amazing that everybody was safe at the end of the day. Now we rebuild, but most importantly, everybody was safe.
The RV park took a huge hit, and the place that we call home and the place that we love doesn't look the same anymore. It can all be replaced and fixed, but everybody got out with their life and their children, their pets. I'm so thankful that people worked fast, good people, I don't even know who they were, helped to notify people and get them out of here, to get them to a safe spot. People cared for one another, and they just did what they had to do to survive and not get anybody hurt. But we're gonna fix it. And a lot of good people have showed up to help us in the last 2 or 3 days. Can't even begin to name them all, but they've come from our church and they've come from the community right up the road, the Open Door House of Prayer. They've been so good to us, and even one guy just from the community just stopped in and said, I just want to help somebody. I said, hey man, come on, we got things to do, and he just helped for the better part of a day. We got a long ways to go, but we're going to get some infrastructure back in place, and we're going to get this place back up and running. It won't be as big or as beautiful as it first was beginning of this summer, but it'll be going. We'll have room for people soon to come camping.
We thank you all, each one that's come through the park to help, each one that are supporting us financially, whatever gift they have, they willingly and generously give to us. We are very thankful, and words doesn't even scratch the surface of how we feel.
Our daughter Audrey has been amazing to just work at picking stuff up. It's got the park relatively cleaned up of debris. The next big step is getting the power turned on, hopefully tomorrow. We've had a wonderful one of our regular guests who is an electrician who has volunteered his time and done so much for us by way of getting our power back on. I can't even begin to state how much he's done for us. We'll get that done. Then we'll have power. A lot of people have encouraged us, but today we're clinging to the hope that we have in Christ. We're clinging to the hope of His Word, which promises that He's got good plans for us. And I've been thinking about that verse a lot that says, I'm pressed down, but I'm not destroyed. I'm crushed, but I'm not destroyed. And I've just been thinking on that, remembering that God is faithful. Even in the valley, which this valley that we live in and love was almost our ruin, but it won't be. We're going to love this valley again. We still do. We still love our creek. We love this place. We will rebuild this place.
If you look at the pasture now and all the evidence of the water and the power of that water that went through this park, it's overwhelming. This is everything you own, everything you love.
There's a lot of work we can't show because we are doing it. This is our home. Small family, small business. There's just so much that we can't do with what we have. Our equipment got messed up in the flooding.
As a camping community, we can come together and help get this place back to where it was. Any help will make a big difference. They are overly sad about what has occurred. They're so grateful that all of their campers that were staying here that day were safe. That was Dave's main concern. So please, 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 they need help. Any way you guys can help provide that, they deserve it, because they would help you. They would help you in a second, no questions asked.
This is a big, huge task. So any help would be so much appreciated, and grateful to get this park back to where it was and to help the family rebuild what was here before. It's a beautiful place, and we don't want to see it go away. We want to rebuild it and make it better than it was.
We do need some things. We need some big things. I need a diesel mechanic that can hopefully revive my skid steer by dropping all the fluids, and it got swamped, but it was not running. My Kubota, on the other hand, it started. It's got some issues, probably might show themselves worse to come, who knows, electronics, this and that. Our septic system, getting that fully back online, we're gonna need some serious work on our septic so that it will drain all the way to the end of the pasture. Additionally, the next big thing is the entire RV park is a gravel parking lot, and we had a lot of grass. We have 2-foot drifts of gravel and sand. I need guys with skid steers that know how to run them and get the gravel off the grass and put it back into the gravel areas. We need some equipment. We need maybe trucks. We need maybe dump trailers, skid steers, and those kind of things. And there's other things in the future that I'm gonna need and will take help for. If you're willing, I'm grateful, and we'll take your help, whatever we can, utilize whatever you can do. We're gonna show up tomorrow morning with our boots on, our gloves on, and we're gonna keep after it. And we're very, very grateful. We're very grateful for the wonderful people that have just showed up and helped us to this point. And I know that they're not done. It'll continue, and others. And so thank you very much for your support during this time.
The owners are very good people, and we just hate to see them feeling so bad right now. And hopefully everything will get back together, and we all can get together and have fun again.
We're going to get through it. And there are some good things that have come of it, such as we really needed to clean out the cow yard. The rains came down on Friday night, and after it all receded, Audrey and I went over to the cow yard, and it is the cleanest and shiniest cow yard you've ever seen. I would not recommend swimming somewhere down in Mississippi. There's tons and tons of cow crap coming your way. And it ain't a politician. All right?
Don't put that on there.